It's another Victory Monday for the Birds, and coming up on today's show, I'm going to explain why the Eagles are the NFL's best team. We have a Jalen Hurts injury update. A.J. Brown is the closest thing to Calvin Johnson that we've ever seen, and the nickname here, Mega John, is absolutely elite. Trade rumors are heating up going into tomorrow's deadline, and could the Birds be trading Derek Barnett? Before we dive into all of that on another loaded show, thanks for the love right here on Philadelphia Eagles Now, and I can say thanks for the brotherly love, right? We surpassed 60,000 subscribers during our Eagles and Commanders watch party yesterday. If you want Eagles content and shows every single day, especially going into a big event like tomorrow's NFL trade deadline when we have you covered, hit that subscribe button, and with that, let's talk some Birds. Must be a pretty good feeling when you wake up knowing that you're 7-1 and no other team in the National Football League is sporting that record. And then that's where I want to start on today's Philadelphia Eagles Now. I'm Chase Sr. Appreciate all of you for being here with us. The Birds are now 7-1, best record in the NFL. And I want to explain why I think, in my estimation, they're the best all-around team in football right now. And I want to start off with this. I think that the Eagles are more multiple than any team in the National Football League. And what I mean by that is that the Eagles can win in a variety of ways, more so than any other squad across this league. If you're in a shootout, I have confidence in the Eagles. If they have to come back, I think the Eagles have displayed that they had that mental toughness to come back and win in a shootout type of ball game. If it's a low-scoring defensive battle, this Eagles defense and this team has shown that they have the fortitude to be able to come out with victories in those types of situations. Or if it's an ugly, grimy game, the Eagles so far this year, and even going back to last year under head coach Nick Sirianni, have been able to win those types of football games as well. And I mentioned briefly, I like the Eagles' mental toughness. Yesterday, that was on display. You're on the road. I know a lot of Eagles fans were at FedEx Field as they always take over that dog shit stadium, but the Eagles down 14-3. They turned it over twice inside the 5-yard line. There are so many teams across the NFL, and I think the Eagles are the only team equipped to actually not get rattled, maintain their composure, have mental toughness, and not shrivel or crater in that spot. That's an easy position for teams to just mail it in, throw up the white flag, and say, you know what, today's not our day. For Philadelphia, though, that is not the standard. And it's that type of blue-collar toughness that the city of Philadelphia embodies, and this team is embodying that. Also, the Eagles have shown this ability under Nick Sirianni to win on the road. Nick Sirianni so far in his head coaching career, 17-5 in road games. Jalen Hurts is an absolute winner, 21-2 in the regular season over the last 2 years. And this is also, thanks to Howie Roseman, perhaps the most talented roster in the league from top to bottom. And they can control the game on both sides of the line of scrimmage. Now, the Cowboys game on Sunday at Lincoln Financial Field could be one of the best matchups of the year. I think it's going to be a great test because Dak Prescott often poses a lot of challenges to this Eagles team. They're very fast defensively, and they might be able to stick with the Eagles' explosiveness, their weaponry, their speed and physicality from sideline to sideline, but also getting up and down the field vertically. But this is an Eagles team that is shown time and time again here in 2023 and in 2022 that they can win in a variety of ways, and that plays in September, October, November, as well as December. So if you think that the Eagles are the best team in the NFL and you're with me with those opinions, and you absolutely hate the Dallas Cowboys, what I want you to do right now is hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. Again, I think that this is going to be a difficult test for Philadelphia. They should come out on top. They are favorites, but we all hate the Cowboys. And as my boy, Losing Hope with Humanity, hit me up on Instagram saying, let Cowboys Hate Week commence. Yeah, it's a good opportunity to let it commence right now by liking the video. As for Jalen Hurts, latest on him, want to talk about the injury update. Want to talk about his play against the Commanders as well. He's been dealing with the knee bruise for 4 weeks, according to NFL insider Jay Glazer. He needed an hour of treatment after that game against Washington, and that's why it was so delayed for him speaking with the media. And you can tell with the way that he's moving, with the way that he's running. The Eagles only called 2 design runs for him yesterday that he's a little bit hobbled. But while Jalen Hurts might be hobbled because of that knee injury, he is not hobbled right now. And by the way, from everybody that I've kind of talked to and everything that I've seen, when you look at Jalen Hurts walk around in the locker room, he takes the podium for his post-game press conferences. It's not like he has this noticeable leap. He doesn't look as though he's in a tremendous amount of pain. And if he was, he probably wouldn't be playing right now. Anytime your franchise quarterback is dealing with a little bit of an injury, you have to be a little bit concerned. But I'm not overly concerned when it comes down to that injury, being able to hold him back because, my goodness, he has really taken strides over the last couple of weeks in throwing the football. And against Miami, despite the pick, despite the fumble, I thought that was his best game of the year. Considering the circumstances, down 14-3, 2 fumbles inside the 5, you had to come back from behind, face some adversity, the game got ugly. I thought this was one of Jalen Hurts' finest games of his career, and it's the best passing game that he's had this year. And for anybody out there who wants to be like, oh, Jalen Hurts, he can't get the job done in the pocket, look at these numbers here. And the eye test tells you what you need to know. 29 of 38, 319 yards, second game in his NFL career in which he's thrown 4 touchdowns, 0 picks, and a passer rating merely flawless, 135.7. And there's so many sayings that I sometimes see in the comment section by hosting this show that's watched by millions of people every single month. Sometimes you get opposing fans in the comment section during some of our watch parties. 2 lines here that I want to tackle. Jalen Hurts is just a running back at quarterback. Jalen Hurts can't throw. Look, in his last 8 games, obviously all taking place this year, the Eagles are 7-1. All he does is win. He has a completion percentage of 68%. So if he can't throw, why is his completion percentage very elite at that number? So far this year, 2,140 passing yards. He's been one of the most efficient quarterbacks in the NFL. He has 13 passing touchdowns to 8 picks. I know the interception numbers are up, but the last couple of weeks, again, even though he turned the football over a little bit against Miami, I love the decisions. I love the accuracy, the touch, the anticipation, what he's doing from the pocket right now. And by the way, yeah, he might be banged up, but he's still added this year. 280 rushing yards with 6 rushing touchdowns, 2 fumbles lost. So 10 total giveaways for Hertz this year. Yeah, I think that's a little bit worrisome, a little bit concerning. But, man, he plays like he did against the Washington Commanders. That right there looked like an elite quarterback in this league. And we talk about him being 7-1 this year. I just want to go back to the number because a lot of people don't realize how difficult this is to pull off. He's 21-2 in the regular season in the last 2 years. And you go back to 2021 when the Eagles got off to that slow start under Sirianni and Jalen Hurts. Everybody's panicking. Since that point, they've been one of the best teams in football. Their win-loss record shows that. Making it to the Super Bowl last year shows that as well. And right now, they're the best team in football going into this critical game against the Dallas Cowboys. And oh yeah, for those of you who were naysayers saying Hurts can't win from the pocket, here are his rankings last year and this year from throwing inside the pocket. He is first in the NFL in completion rate. He is second in passer rating. He is third in yards per attempt, 7th among all quarterbacks in touchdown passes. He's completing nearly 73% of his throws for 5,300 yards. He's thrown 31 touchdowns and 12 picks, yards per attempt at 8.6, and a rating of 107.1. Again, this is Hertz throwing from inside the pocket with a large body of work, as last year he was 14-1, and this year he is 7-1. What we're witnessing right now is really special. Speaking of us witnessing something special, what A.J. Brown is doing right now is absolutely absurd. And coming up next on the show, I'm going to explain why A.J. Brown is the closest thing to Calvin Johnson that we've seen. Also some trade rumors that we have to get to. First, though, shout out our sponsor, Prize Picks, for making Eagles now possible. Head to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS for an up to $100 deposit match. This is Daily Fantasy Sports made easy. It is the largest independently run daily fantasy sports app in North America. Some Monday Night Football picks that we like. Josh Jacobs, less than a half pass, rush, and receiving touchdowns combined. Jared Goff more than 252.5 passing yards because that Raiders defense sometimes susceptible against some solid quarterbacks, and Goff has been playing really good ball last year and this year. And then Amon-Ra St. Brown more than 79.5 receiving yards. Yesterday I hit on all of my picks, and you can hit on your picks. But you got to download the app for free and get up to a $100 deposit match at prizepicks.com/CLNS. Now let's shift gears to A.J. Brown before we round out with some trade rumors here. 6 straight games of 125-plus yards for A.J. Brown. He's the first wide receiver ever to accomplish this in a 6-game stretch. A.J. Brown is looking like the closest thing that we've seen to Calvin Johnson. And you make some of the comparisons of the games between these two, right? Tall, physical, able to break tackles, pick up yards after the catch, contested catchability, red zone threat like we saw yesterday where you can throw that back shoulder ball, he's going to go up and get it. Long ball threat with his ability to take the top off of the defense. A.J. Brown physically has been playing like Calvin Johnson, and Calvin Johnson's game and A.J. Brown's game is very, very similar. And Calvin Johnson was the last wide receiver to have that stretch of 5+ games of 125+ receiving yards, and now A.J. Brown able to top that. Again, it's the body of work that we're seeing, it's the production, but it's the playing style, right? A.J. Brown just has this innate ability to kind of catch a dig route, sense where a defender is behind him, make a miss, or power through some of those tackles and break tackles. But that elusiveness to his game is what Calvin Johnson had. The getaway speed and the explosiveness, I think, is really impressive. And then again, it's just the physical nature and the physicality where they can just dominate you with their size, with their athleticism, with that physicality that not a lot of wide receivers can do. And that's why I kind of make that comparison between Megatron and Mega John. You look at the last 6 games for A.J. Brown here. This tear started against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when he had 9 catches for $131. Then against the Commanders, he was Emmanuel Forbes' daddy, 9 catches, 175 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Against the Rams, 6 grabs, 127. Against the Jets, one of the only players to show up, 7 grabs, 131 yards. Against the Dolphins 2 weeks ago, 10 catches on Sunday Night Football, 137 yards and a touchdown. And then against Washington, 8 catches, 130, and 2 touchdowns. That first touchdown was crazy, and it was a really good tight window throw by Herz. Like, put it up there, let A.J. Brown go get it. He snagged it with that one hand and came down in bounds. And then that second touchdown, he's double teamed. Washington brought over safety help. It didn't matter. A.J. Brown goes up and gets it, and then he powers through both of those defenders to get to pay dirt. Man, this is a special 1-2 punch between Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown, and if they can both stay healthy and this production continues, this has the makings of one of the best, if not the best, wide receiver quarterback combinations in the history of this franchise. And right now, they're operating as if they're the best quarterback and wide receiver duo in the NFL. So this nickname, absolutely elite. Give me a Mega John down in the comment section here. Myself and producer Trace, we were laughing about that nickname yesterday, looking at a couple of animations as well. It's really good stuff. Latest trade buzz for the Eagles going into Tuesday's deadline. Want to hit on this because a couple of interesting notes here that we want to pass along, because we just saw a trade between the New York Giants and the Seattle Seahawks. Leonard Williams going from New York to the Pacific Northwest. That's a great move for Seattle. They realize that with the Niners' struggles, they have an opportunity to win the NFC West and be a formidable presence in the NFC. Howie Roseman, according to all accounts, all reports, still working the phones, and Derek Barnett could get dealt going into the deadline. There's this report from Dianna Russini, who's been all over all of this trade stuff. She said this morning on Monday, keep in mind why today could be busy for general managers around the league. Let's say a team is going to trade a player and take on some of the salary. That deal would have to be redone by today at 4 p.m. Then the team can trade him anytime today between 4:01 p.m. and 3:59 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday. That's why this Leonard Williams trade between the Giants and the Seahawks isn't official until 4 o'clock so that they can work on restructuring the contract for that Seattle front office. And then there's this report that we hit yesterday during our postgame show that the Eagles want to make another move even after adding Titans captain Kevin Byard. I expect Howie Roseman to be busy on Monday morning. He's poking around at that linebacker position. We have some linebacker trade targets in a moment. More from Russini, though. Organizations with aggressive general managers like the Philadelphia Eagles, San Francisco 49ers continue to work the phones to see if valuable players are available, while organizations like the Panthers, Titans, Broncos, they have been listening to pitches. Many hypothetical deals are being discussed at this moment, while general managers try to take advantage of teams that are falling out of contention or desperate to gain draft capital for 2024. The offers for many players will improve by Monday. That's what most teams are expecting at least. And again, already one trade as of this recording, as we're recording this show at about 3 o'clock Eastern time. Some trade targets at the linebacker spot, working off and piggybacking off of that Dianna Russini report. These are 3 names that are being mentioned a lot. Zaire Franklin, really good linebacker for the Indianapolis Colts, good athlete. You have that line of communication with Shane Steichen, now the head coach. Blake Cashman, really good athlete at that linebacker position as well with the Houston Texans. They might not be a formidable playoff team, especially after losing to the Carolina Panthers and that battle between the number 1 and number 2 pick in Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud. And I know some of you might be looking at this graphic saying, well, Chase, Jeremy Chinn, he's a safety. Well, look at how he's used and his snaps by position this year. He's pretty much being used as if he is a linebacker. He's played in the slot 103 times, 103 snaps, box safety 70 times. He's only played outside corner 14, edge 9, and if you want to call him a safety, you can by position, right? But deep safety, he's only played 1 snap at deep safety. So a little bit of a limited player, plays a lot inside the box. You can include him and involve him in some of these sub packages. Yes, he is out until around December with that quad injury, but that's an impact player who could help you in December, January, and hopefully for Philadelphia, maybe even February. The Eagles were going to draft him if they didn't take Jalen Hurts in the 2nd round. That's a well-known thing, and that's why a lot of Eagles fans really like him. Could they get him back on an expiring deal? We will certainly see. I'd like to get a player who can impact this team right away, but Jeremy Chinn, I think, could be beneficial for this Eagles defense. And then with Derek Barnett, according to Albert Breer, he is reporting that the Eagles are willing to trade Derek Barnett. He's not really in the rotation. He's starting to get out-snapped, or at least Nolan Smith is starting to see more snaps than him. He even said in the preseason, him and his agent Drew Rosenhaus, they were going to look for other deals so that he could get a little bit more playing time. Would not be surprised if the Eagles trade him away for other edge rusher depth or another position of importance and of need, linebacker, corner, running back, backup wide receiver, even though with Julio Jones and the catch that he made while taking that hit in the head yesterday, that was future Hall of Fame type stuff. So if you made it this far on the show, give me a real one. It's a Victory Monday. You got to be pumped up. We appreciate you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe because this is your home for the best Eagles coverage, especially going into the deadline.